House Calls.
It's time now for House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty.
Keep it here for market insights, featured guests, and answers to your real estate questions.
Here are your hosts, Steve Furrow and Julie Kingery.
Hey, we're back. House Calls, yeah. Guys, we sit in here every Saturday here on House Calls, and we talk about real estate. We talk about what's happening with the local markets, buying, selling, investing, guys. If you are in the real estate market, even just a little, you're going to want to sit back and listen to all the updates we've got coming here. You just might learn something. Today, guys, I've got it is another special day. We've got Miss Broker Betty back with us. Hey, Betty.
Hey, you let me come back.
We are excited to have you here on House Calls, Betty. We are we talk about everything real estate. So you were with us last week. What you got? Anything exciting that you would say has happened in the real estate market since you were with us last week?
No one has used the word realtor. They've all used the word realtor.
Oh, boy.
2 syllables. There we go.
Even
professionals, even people that have their real estate license and abide by our code of ethics, they finally are saying realtor.
Well, and it's a lot of it is due to your efforts, Miss Betty.
Oh, sure.
We appreciate you carrying that flag, and you will continue to carry that flag every opportunity that you get. Guys, last week we talked about inventory, and it's the same song there. Inventory is continuing to move forward, continuing to grow here in the local market. We've got more houses to sell today than we did yesterday, and I anticipate that trend will continue here as we move along. So inventory is good, and guys, that is a good thing. Buying, selling, inventory, a good amount of inventory here. We've got good demand. That's a positive thing for the real estate market as a whole. Interest rates, guys, interest rates are steady. 6.5, give or take. Maybe it's ticked up a little bit from where it was maybe a week ago. I think depending on where you sit and your perspective, whether or not this interest rate is trending up or trending down, I think, me personally, looking at the data, I think it looks like we are steady to potentially up a percentage, a tenth of a point here or there, depending on what day and what time you were to look at it. Miss Betty, home prices, I think it's fair to say, are steady.
They are.
Steady home prices when we look around at what's happening from that standpoint. We visited a fair amount last week about days on market, and days on market are up from where we were a year ago. And certainly that would be a very different market. Today's market is very different than where we were in 2021, 2022, the post-COVID sort of frenzy that we would have seen at that time. But guys, the days on market, I don't get so hung up on it. The fact that it's taking 10 more days or 15 more days to sell your home versus what it would have done a year ago. Homes are still selling.
That's right.
Is that right, Betty?
There are buyers out there.
Every day, homes are selling. We get new contracts. Sure. So don't read too much into it of saying, oh, this is, the real estate market is just going down the tubes.
Doom and gloom.
That's right. Because I for every person that wants to talk about doom and gloom, I can talk to you and say, look, well, here's a house that went on the market, and within 48 hours, it was under contract. Mm-hmm. I can show you that more than one occasion where that's the case. And so, guys, Betty talked about it last time. You sellers, you put that house on the market, you need to do your homework. Mm-hmm. Let's get it priced right, Betty?
That's right. You have to.
Let's do the things to give us that great first impression. Mm-hmm. Let's look at doing some landscaping. Do we need to paint? Do we need to declutter? All the things that we have talked about, guys, in the past, from a selling perspective, to me, those are as important today as they have ever been.
More important, probably, than they were last year.
Yeah, no, it is important today as it's ever been, as far as doing your homework, making sure that you're putting your best foot forward, and that we get that home priced right. You come out of the gate, well, I just want to try this, guys, that is a ticket to sitting there on the market and just adding to these days on market.
Yeah.
That's just where we are.
You'll lose your most serious buyers. Your most serious buyers are in the beginning. Mm-hmm. They are eyeing the market constantly. And if you're not in the right price range or labeled the correct price, you're going to lose them.
And, as we move through here, we talk about, the increase in days on market. We've got where we're thinking more of a balanced type market. We're not necessarily a seller's market, not necessarily a buyer's market. It's more of a balance. So, things like inspections, things like negotiating back and forth a little bit more. That's more of a normal in this market. Fair?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Yep, you're agreeing with you. You're shaking your head going, yeah. And I just want to make sure that everybody out there's, hey, it's not just Steve talking. Miss Betty is in agreement with me that what I'm saying is in fact the truth there. It's just this market. It's really important that we put our best foot forward on that front. But we still have a good market. There's still demand out there for properties. We think about the area that we live in, Miss Betty. We think about quality of life. Mm-hmm. We think about outdoor recreation. It just there's a lot around that make this place appealing for people, to live.
Absolutely.
And so when you do that, you think about that buyer demand. People want to come and hang out, or maybe they're just looking, they like where they're at. They just want a little bit different setting. Mm-hmm. Bigger house, smaller house, all one level. We can talk about all the things that people are looking for. And one of my favorite lines, Miss Julie says, is everybody wants a chicken, Betty. Everybody wants a chicken. I'll never forget that one. But anyway, that's a great segue into where we are. We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back with the question of the week. I think we're gonna talk a little bit about credit scores and things along those lines. So stay tuned, and we'll look forward to seeing you here on House Call.
House Calls.
Buying, selling, moving fast.
The Kingery team delivers results with heart.
We're the local family team that knows this market inside and out and treats every client like one of our own.
Quick closings, strong offers, no nonsense. Whether you're upsizing, downsizing, or just ready for a change, let's make it happen.
The Kingery team, selling real estate 1 yard at a time. Located uptown Rocky Mount at 195 South Main Street. Give us a call at 540-483-5566.
All right. Guess what? House Calls is back. We've got Miss Broker Betty here with us, and this second half, we're going to talk about the question of the week. And this question comes from the 540, and this is from old buddy Jim. And Jim looks like he is in the market to buy a house, Miss Betty. Jim is in the market to buy a house. And with that being said, he says, hey, Steve, here we are. I want to buy a house. It's time for us to move to a larger place. And he says, so I have talked with my lender, and the lender suggests that I should take a few months to work on my credit score. What do you feel? Jim goes on to talk about how I feel about that comment. He questions maybe should he go see another lender, etc. I'm going to take just a moment, Miss Betty, and pull back, and I'm going to give you a question to Jim's question. And the question is, Betty, of the home buyers that you've been working with, how many would you say prior to attempting to purchase a home, how many of them have had a conversation with a lender and taken steps to improve their credit score? What do you think?
I don't know. I'm gonna pull back a minute. First of all, it's a good thing that Jim did go see a lender.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things, that if you cannot buy a home or buy property with cash, one of the first things you need to do is go see your lender and be qualified. And so that lender will tell you, or maybe your realtor will tell you too, that we need to figure out what your credit score is. And I thought it was interesting in USA Today a couple of weeks ago. There's a great article about buyers and their misunderstanding of the purchase of a home. And I just thought to myself, there's a lot of truth to that. They also, when you hear of a FICO score, of course, you're immediately thinking of your credit score. And of course, as you and I, you better have a credit score of over a 850. That's pretty good score. If you are 740 to 799, you're very good. And if you are 670 to 739, you're okay, good. But if you're below that, you better be careful. But where I'm going with this is that I could not believe that almost 60% of Americans said in a survey that they did not fully understand the steps in buying a home. And when you think of a first-time home buyer, there was almost 65% of them that said they did not understand the steps in buying a home. So even the people that are planning to buy a home, half of them don't completely know or understand the process that you should go through. As much as we talk about it, it's hard for me to believe that, but 1 in 4 prospective home buyers don't understand what a credit score will do for them and how it will affect their mortgage rate. That's baffling to me. But you think about roadblocks to home buyers, it's not all about the economy. Maybe it's more about the real control that person has on their credit score. So when you're looking for a home in the next year, if you're thinking about buying a home in the next year, and just what Jim was saying, now is the time for you to get busy and figure out what your credit score is. There's a website, annualcreditreport.com. If you want that again, it's annualcreditreport.com, and you can obtain your credit report free from Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and you need to do that probably once a year and find out what your credit score is. You do not need to pay companies to figure out how to increase your credit score. All you need to do is talk with that lender, and they will coach you so that you can figure out what you need to do, what you need to not close out, what you need to pay. But many of our first-time home buyers are renters. And do you realize that if you pay your rent on time every month, that helps to increase your credit score? Paying your bills on time. I didn't say you had to pay it off. In our household, it is you have to pay it off. You don't buy it if you can't pay for it by the end of that month. But be sure you pay your minimums. And even though you paid more than your minimum one month, that doesn't mean that you skip the next month. You never skip. You always pay your bills on time, and you will notice that it will help to increase your FICO score. Now, some first-time home buyers, they don't have bad credit. They just don't have credit. So that's another thing that the lender, of course, will work with you, will suggest for you to get a credit card and for you not to go wild with it, but be sure that you can pay it off. So these are just some things as far as, and I don't know that I answered Jim's question, but it just blows my mind that people are that out of it as far as not realizing what the real process is. And that says a lot to our profession, that we are not doing the job maybe that we need to with helping these young buyers and helping to explain. And it is complicated, and it's a lot to it. So maybe even though we explain it, it's just like in teaching, remediation is important. So we need to go back and say it over and over. Just because this is something that we do every day, this is not necessarily something that home buyer does every day.
Well, I think that's a great point, Betty. I think when we look at talking with buyers, most most people that are thinking about buying a home, they may have done it once or twice. Some have not done it at all, but, it's not something that, it's not like driving a car or riding a bicycle. You think about those things that you just do it on an everyday basis. So that's, I think we at times take that for granted that everybody knows, and that's not the case. I will just take a moment to rewind you for a minute and tell everyone that, when you think about getting your credit report, you don't, there is a free credit report out there. Don't, you start doing some searches, and next thing you know, you're in a spot where someone's asking you to pay a fee to get your credit report, and that is not necessary. Annualcreditreport.com. That is a place that you can go and get a free credit report there, and that's important. Don't get into a situation, because I have done this. I have walked out there on the big old World Wide Web and attempted to do to check my credit report, and I did a Google search. Of course, annualcreditreport.com did show up, but it may not necessarily have been the one at the very top.
That's right.
And,
it's not. It's not
so
usually.
Be careful, be vigilant on that. If it's asking you for a fee, then you're not in the right place. Betty, I think your comments there about all the things that need to happen, I think is good. I think it maybe we segue into here about once a year, maybe a good routine is to check your credit. Look it over, look for errors, look for any sort of unfamiliar accounts, or review your payment history. If you're carrying high balances, let's look at ways to try to pay those down from that standpoint. Make sure that your personal information is correct there when you do it. And so it's, these are just some things that we'll throw out there that will, if you are intentional about it, it will really pay dividends down the road when it comes time to buy that house, when it comes time to buy a car. I mean, the better credit score you have, if you're trying to finance something, they're looking at it, looking at that and determining what kind of risk you pose to them. Mm-hmm. And so
I'll brag on my own children for just a few moments in the fact that because it's been drilled into them how important a credit score would be for their future from the time they were in high school. And for Julie, walking in to purchase a new car and they notice that her credit score is 850. And they look at her and say, "Oh, ma'am, you pick out whatever you want." But with a higher credit score, the lender knows, and whatever you're purchasing, they know immediately that you're trusted to pay your bills, to do what you're supposed to do, and you'll do it. Yeah. So, we stay within reason, but when you're making purchases, but that credit score is so important. Yeah. So I always say, pay your bills on time, keep your credit card low. I mean, you have a maximum for what you can spend, but it's best for you to keep your balances as low as possible. That helps. And one thing that will always surprise me was don't close old credit cards. Sometimes you think, oh, I'll pay it off and I'll close it. Well, pay it off and have a zero balance, but don't close it. And your lender will talk to you more about that as far as why it's good and why you shouldn't do it. But avoid applying for too many cards. Keep it to 2, maybe, if at all possible. Have a mix of credit to build your credit. You have credit cards, maybe you have an auto loan, maybe you do have a mortgage, and maybe you have some personal loans. But as long as you are paying all of them on time, you'll be okay.
Well, Miss Betty, I hate to cut you off, but we could go on and on about this, but we need to cut this off.
We need to wrap it up.
We will
before they cut us off.
I'm going to reserve the opportunity to bring you back sometime in the future and have you join us here on House Calls, Miss Betty.
I know why you gave me a chair without armrest. The only reason yours has armrest is to keep you in the chair. Because I wish if the listeners could see you now, they would know you would be all out on the floor with this.
All right. Well, guys, we do hope you have a great Saturday. Thank you for joining us. Kingeryteam.com. We'd love to visit with you if you're interested in buying or selling. We'll look forward to catching up with you next Saturday right here on House Calls. Until then, take care.
Thanks for listening to House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty with your hosts, Steve Furrow and Julie Kingery. If you have questions about anything discussed on today's show, text us at 276-629-9999. Join us again next Saturday at 9 for more tips, trends, and answers to your real estate questions on House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty and Southern Virginia's country station, B99.9.
House Calls.